The world of Runeterra might be one of the most fascinating and intricate fantasy settings in modern gaming. While League of Legends is commonly associated with its wildly popular competitive scene, Riot Games have been taking great strides in recent years to flesh out their world and the characters that reside within, even going so far as to reboot the entire story in 2015. While this push for a deeper narrative has been widely appreciated by the game's lore community, the results have been controversial at times. With a retconned world came the need to retcon characters. Riot has made a substantial effort in the last few years to reimagine the backstories of League's iconic champions to fit them into the new lore, but not every change has been met with positive feedback. Let's face it, no writer is perfect and hindsight is 2020, so a number of characters throughout the years have been left with less than stellar backstories compared to most of the roster. Still, it is my firm belief that criticism should always be supplemented with suggestions and feedback for improvement, which is what we're here to discuss today. Hello and welcome to Runeterra Rewrites, a series in which I'll be offering my own takes on League's most controversial stories and champions. My aim is simple, to propose alternative versions of these stories that better match the characters' themes and concepts, without needing to alter anything regarding their in-game designs or voice lines. With all that being said, please sit back, relax, and let us begin, shall we? The Shadow Isles are a realm of undeath, a place where restless spirits wallow in their own miseries and vices for eternity. Any trace of light, hope, or joy was stripped away from these accursed lands long ago, when a grieving king set foot upon their shores. For most, the Shadow Isles are a forsaken place, but for a lone Yordle called Vex, they're the closest thing to paradise. Long ago, Vex went by a different name, Mollify, or Molly for short. Like most Yordle, she was born and raised in the mystical realm of Bandle City, surrounded by the eccentric personalities of her kin. Yordles are known to be energetic and excitable by nature, but Molly was different. Though cheerful and friendly to all, she carried herself with a calm, almost infectious demeanor that seemed to settle even the most chaotic souls. Though Molly longed to understand this curious phenomenon, it quickly became apparent that not even her own parents could truly provide the answers she sought. Eventually, Molly heard tell of a place where scholars of the arcane gathered to study and protect the secrets of magic, the Blessed Isles. Protected by a veil of concealing mist, these isles were inaccessible by normal means, but the roots of the Bandle tree formed gateways all across Runeterra, and the Blessed Isles were no exception. Though Bandle was the only home she had ever known, Molly steeled her resolve and stepped through the portal, emerging into a temple at the very heart of the Isles. Here, Molly had her first encounter with humans, a group of monks calling themselves the Brethren of Dusk. Though initially alarmed by the Yordle's sudden appearance, the monks quickly succumbed to the strange, calming aura that seemed to accompany Molly wherever she went. She had a gift, they claimed, a gift to pacify uneasy hearts and ease addled minds. To her surprise, the monks quickly offered her a place among their own ranks. The Brethren of Dusk were a religious order devoted to helping the souls of the departed pass on, conducting funeral rites and burials for the Isles. Though initially hesitant, Molly saw this as an opportunity to learn more about herself and the strange power she possessed, and so she humbly accepted the monks' generous offer. It wasn't long before the Brethren of Dusk called upon Molly to help ease the suffering of one of their own. Though each member carried a vial of healing water that could treat any ailment or injury, there was little they could do against the passage of time. Molly found herself at the bedside of an old woman, using her power to help calm the Elder's fears and anxieties of passing on into the next world. It was a somber affair, and Molly began to wonder if this is truly what her power was meant for. As denizens of the spirit realm, death by old age was a foreign concept to Yordles, and yet she witnessed it again and again each time the Brethren of Dusk called upon her for their rites. Molly's attitude became more and more morose with each funeral, and she eventually stopped wearing the vial of sacred water given to her by the monks, despite their insistence. For a time, Molly even considered leaving the Isles altogether, but before she could make that decision, a tragedy occurred. Somehow, a mad king had penetrated the Isles' concealing mists and demanded access to the waters of life, seeking to revive his dead queen. The king's armies cut down anyone who stood in their way, and Molly was horrified to witness the slaughter that ensued. A part of her wondered if she could calm the Mad King and his armies, but in that moment, all Molly could think to do was flee and hide as far from the chaos as she could. Seeking refuge in an unused coffin within the Sanctum of Dusk, Molly shut herself away from the world, though something strange overcame her as she sat alone in the darkness. Molly's fear slowly gave way to calm, and then apathy. She found herself pondering the meaning of it all. Life, happiness, light. All things that eventually faded from this world, as she herself had seen many times already. The Yordle emerged from her hiding place to find the isle she knew completely transformed, shrouded by an ominous black mist. It was perfect. This, the Yordle deduced, was the true state of the world. When all warmth and joy faded, all that remained was gloom and misery. No longer did she have to concern herself with easing the burdens of strangers, and instead welcomed the idea of this new, bleak realm she found herself in. Mollify was no more, and in her place, Vex had emerged. However, as Vex wandered the mist, she realized that she wasn't alone. Beneath her feet, her own shadow began to take on a new, more ghastly appearance, and Vex found that she could even summon it to do her bidding. While its oddly expressive and cheerful mannerisms annoyed her, Vex found it a useful means of navigating her new home, and so creatively dubbed her new traveling companion Shadow. For a time, Vex was content to simply spend the rest of eternity here, but the miserable bliss she enjoyed was interrupted when strangers emerged on the Isles, carrying weapons infused with the power of light. These strangers called themselves Sentinels, and seemed intent on eradicating the darkness that surrounded the Shadow Isles. Vex realized that if these so-called heroes had their way, then her personal paradise was in serious trouble. Though the idea nauseated her, Vex realized that she had only one hope of maintaining her hopeless realm. She would need to ally with the man that brought the black mist upon them, and shroud the world in darkness before the light could reclaim what had been lost.